A reading from the first letter of John. Beloved, see what love the Father has bestowed on us, that we may be called the children of God, yet so we are. The reason the world does not know us is that it did not know Him. Beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. We do know that when it is revealed, we shall be like Him. We shall see Him as He is. Everyone who has this hope based on Him makes himself pure as He is pure. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
We are on a mission that the world may know Him. We are God's beloved. And as we set out on this mission to share the gospel, we encounter radical complexity, a confusing dynamic in the culture, just a sheer complexity, how to navigate the many elements that we're asked to respond to as we go out to set foot to share the gospel, to respond to the call that we've received as God's beloved, to share that love so that the world may know Him. We encounter a perplexing, baffling, enigmatic, puzzling complexity, and we all know this. We have our election coming up. We are responding in society. How are we to witness to the values of Catholic social teaching in the midst of an election? How are we to navigate the many questions that are being asked of us in our own lives in a very complex way? The answer is gospel simplicity. This is not an ignorance of what's going on, an ignorance of problems. This is embracing complexity with gospel simplicity. We need to know who we are. Perhaps we need to go back to the fundamentals. When things are baffling, when things are over our head, when we feel overwhelmed, that is the time to go into simplicity as a way to respond to that complexity. We see this in many avenues of life. For example, teaching. My sister just started working as a first grade teacher and teaching her students phonics, sentence structure, words, connecting vowels together. All that basic fundamental structure of language is what will allow those kids, what will allow students in school to eventually be able to analyze vast literature works and to really respond and express themselves with words. The fundamentals that are built there. If you look at a basketball player, for example, preparing for a big game and spending hours sweating, taking three-point shots, working on their wrist angle and the way they're shooting the ball again and again and again, the fundamentals there are really crucial. A chef figuring out how to make mac and cheese before making cordon bleu. This fundamentals of life, we see it all the time in our daily lives, and we see it in the saints. And this is not just an example with the saints of doing well in a certain activity, basketball or teaching or cooking. With the saints, it's this fundamentals of their entire life, the witness, the integrity of their entire life derived from gospel simplicity. And what does this gospel simplicity look like? It's based on the knowledge that we are God's beloved, that we are God's children. Yet that is what we are. We see a movement from self-knowledge, self-acceptance to self-gift. When we know who we are in God, we are rooted in that gospel simplicity to be able to go out to complex situations and respond. We see this mission, this rootedness in the example of the saints as we celebrate All Saints' Day. We look up and down the centuries. We see witnesses, martyrs, apostles, contemplatives, those out in the culture. And I could just think of your favorite saints, the ones that inspire you. People like St. Benedict, Therese of Avila, Therese of Lisieux, those contemplating in humble contemplation, mendicant friars, Francis and Dominic, great missionaries of the Church, Ignatius of Loyola, Francis Xavier, martyrs Maximilian Kolbe, St. Catherine, St. Martin de Porres, Pier Giorgio Frassati, Mother Teresa. What do all these saints have in common? And I could go down the list more and more. What do these saints have in common? They know who they are. They're rooted in the fundamentals of knowing that they are God's beloved children. And even more, the people that we know in our lives, our family members, our friends, maybe grandparents, maybe a neighbor down the street, maybe somebody we know dearly, who is deeply rooted in their identity and the fundamentals of gospel simplicity, knowing that they are God's beloved children. And in the midst of complexity, I know I certainly do, we look to them for guidance. We look to them to be able to witness to a baffling reality that we find, to be able to truly witness and embrace the tough challenge that we have to face. So as we go forward, let us be reminded that we are God's beloved children. Let us know who we are, and from self-knowledge, knowing who we are in God, we can accept the fullness of that gift and be able to share it with others.